I'm making a Egyptian God Knight deck profile. I've been playing around with this deck for a little bit, and I actually think it's really fun to play. But with the right hand, you can actually set up a board for your opponent's turn that's has Slifer, the Sky Dragon, and a couple of negates to go with Slifer, which I think is pretty good unless your opponent has Dark Ruler No More for some reason, which always happens to me. But anyway, the deck's really fun, and you just constantly recur your resources, so you constantly have fuel. So first, starting with the monsters, I play 3 copies of Imperial Bower. Imperial Bower is a free summon if you control no monsters, and if you then you can tribute it while you control no other monsters, so that you can take 2 of King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and or Jack's Knight, and then summon them. However, if you use that effect, you're locked into Light Warriors for the rest of the turn. I think that's the lock. Oh, no. Imperial Bower doesn't lock you into anything. You just do that, and you can only use that effect of Imperial Bower once per turn. But yeah, you contribute to either add or special summon 2 monsters among Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight. I haven't used Imperial Bower that often, so it's never really came up. And I play 2 copies of Queen's Knight, 2 copies of King's Knight, and 2 copies of Jack's Knight. Queen's Knight is required to be on your field for when you normal summon King's Knight. Because when King's Knight is normal summoned, while you control a Queen's Knight, you can special summon a Jack's Knight from the deck. So that gets you your 3 monsters, so you can tribute for an Egyptian God card. Or you can link off for the Arcana Extra Joker, I think it's called. Then I play 3 copies of Joker's Knight. You can special summon Joker's Knight from your hand by sending a King's Knight, Queen's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, its name is treated as that monster's. So you can send Queen's Knight to the grave to have its name become Queen's Knight. Normal summon King's Knight, and King's Knight will summon Jack's Knight. And then during the end phase, while Joker's Knight's in your grave, you can send a Light Warrior from your graveyard back to the deck to return it to your hand. And that effect is shared by Joker's Straight and Joker's Wild. So those 3 cards, as long as you have them in your graveyard, you can keep recurring your Light Warriors, whether they're from the main deck or extra deck. Because everything in this deck is light, I play 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier, just for the Cyber Dragon Infinity negation play. I kind of like it, but I'm probably going to end up trying a different variant of this, where instead of playing Galaxy Soldier, we'll play Quick Draw Synchron, because it's a level 5 tuner, and because you're constantly summoning level 5 Light Warriors, that means you can summon Ultimate Tzolk'in. Then I play 1 copy of Arcana Triumph Joker. I've honestly thought about taking this out because I've never summoned it ever. But its effect is its attack is equal to the number of cards in both players' hands times 500. You can special summon it from your hand or grave by banishing a King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and Jack's Knight, which you never want to do because you want them in grave. You don't want to banish any of them. So I'm only playing the 1, but don't really have to play this at all. I'm probably going to end up taking it out. Then moving on to the Egyptian God cards, I play 2 copies of Slifer the Sky Dragon. You don't have to play 2 copies, but I like playing 2 just because the first one usually gets dealt with, but when I summon the second one, it never gets dealt with because that's when I'm about to murder. But Slifer's effect is its attack is equal to the number of cards in your hand times 1,000. If your opponent would normal or special summon a monster in attack position, it loses 2,000 attack, and if its attack is reduced to 0 by this effect, then it's destroyed. The only monsters that can be summoned in attack position that will be unaffected by Slifer's effect are monsters that are unaffected by other monster effects, other card effects, or monsters with 0 attack. Because if it didn't lose any attack to begin with, it can't be destroyed. Which I found out which is really funny because I found that out in a game against Sacred Beast. Because all their Dark Fiends have 0/0, so they don't really get touched by Slifer. But then Slifer also has the effect of during the end phase, if it has special summon from the graveyard, send it to the grave. I don't like how that effect was changed from destroy it during the end phase. Because then because before I would just foolish it, Monster Reborn it back, and activate Mountain Creator so that it couldn't be destroyed. Then I play one copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra. The Winged Dragon of Ra's effect is it cannot be special summoned. It acquires 3 tributes to be tribute summoned. Same with Slifer and Obelisk. But it also has the effect of when it's normal summoned, you can pay all but 100 of your life points, and its attack and defense its original attack and defense becomes that amount. And then as an additional effect, you can pay 1,000 life points to destroy one monster your opponent controls. And I play one copy of Obelisk the Tormentor. Obelisk requires 3 tributes. It cannot be targeted by card effects. You contribute 2 monsters to destroy all your opponent's face-up monsters on the field, but if you use this effect, it can't be destroyed, or it can't attack. And during the end phase of a special summon, send it to the graveyard. And that is it for the monsters. And I'm only playing the blue, red, and yellow versions because I actually like using them. But like I said, this is also a fun deck, so if I was using this in a tournament, I would be using the cards with the actual effects. So before anyone goes in the comment, you can't use the blue, yellow, and red Egyptian God cards. I know that. I'm just using those because I know their effects, and I just think it's fun to use them. But in a tournament setting, I'd use the actual ones. Moving on to the spells. I play one copy of Terraforming to search Mountain Creator. One copy of Double or Nothing for Utopia Double. One copy of Thunder Force Attack. This is a card that can only be activated while you control Slifer. But while you control Slifer, it destroys all your opponents. I want to say they're face-up monsters. Let's see. Yeah, destroy as many of your opponent's face-up monsters as possible. And then if it was activating during your main phase, you could draw 1 card for every monster destroyed by that effect. Then I play one copy of Fist of Fate. This can only be activated if you control Obelisk the Tormentor. But what it does is you negate the effects of one monster your opponent controls and then destroy it. So I like this because it can technically out monsters like Dragoon. And then if it was activating during your main phase, you can Harpy Feather Duster your opponent's field. Then I play one copy of Blaze Cannon. Blaze Cannon, for some unknown reason, is always treated as a Blaze Accelerator. So if you wanted to, you could play 3 copies of Volcanic Rocket to search for it, but that's not really needed because I would prefer to play something like Guardian Slime, which you can search for it just by going to the graveyard. But Blaze Cannon's effect makes when it's activated, you target a Winged Dragon of Ra you control, and then you apply its 3 effects to the Winged Dragon of Ra. So until the end of the turn, it's unaffected by other card effects. It has the effect of if it destroys an opponent's monster in battle, it sends the rest of their monsters to the grave. As well as giving it the effect of if it declares an attack, you contribute any number of monsters on your field that have not attacked to then give their attack points to the Winged Dragon of Ra. So this just helps the Winged Dragon of Ra get even bigger. The most I've had the Winged Dragon of Ra get in this deck is 25,000. And that was even without me paying life points. Then I play 2 copies of Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant lets you add the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck to your hand. And then if you tribute summon the Winged Dragon of Ra, you can ban it, or you can banish it from your graveyard so that during that turn, if you tribute the Winged Dragon of Ra, it gains attack and defense equal to the combined original attack and defense of the monsters that are attributed for its tribute summon. And you can only use each effect of Ancient Chant once per turn. Then, moving on to the 3 spells, I play 3 copies of Thunder Speed Summon. Thunder Speed Summon lets you tribute immediately after it resolves, tribute summon a level 10 monster. Or if you control King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and Jack's Knight, You can add one level 10 non-dark monster with question mark attacks from your deck to your hand, such as Slifer the Sky Dragon, the Winged Dragon of Ra, or Arcana Triumph Joker, and then immediately after it resolves, tribute summon that monster. So essentially, this will let you search for Slifer the Sky Dragon, and then tribute it, or tribute summon it. So normally what I'll do is I'll have this set with one of the traps, activate the trap, sending another spell to the grave that summons the 3 knights, then activate Thunder Speed Summon to search for Slifer, and then tribute summon it during my opponent's turn. Then I play 3 copies of Joker's Straight. Joker's Straight has the effect of you can discard 1 card to then special summon a Queen's Knight from your deck, search for a King's Knight, and then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 monster. So the whole idea is you special summon Queen's Knight, search King's Knight, normal summon King's Knight with Joker's Straight's effect, special summon Jack's Knight, and then you have all 3 knights, so you can use your cards that give you additional effects if you control all 3 knights. However, you can only use one of each effect of Joker Straight per turn. When Joker Straight is used, you're locked into Light Warriors, of only being able to special summon those. And during the end phase, you can return a light monster from your graveyard to your deck to return to your hand. And that effect can be used at any point during either end phase. So if you have 2 of them in grave, you can return 1 to your hand during your end phase, and a second 1 to your hand during your opponent's end phase. Then to finish off the spells, I play 3 copies of Mound of the Bound Creator. I just like this because it makes so your Egyptian God cards can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And that effect, that protection alone makes it usable. The other, if you don't want to play Mound of the Bound Creator, you could also play something like March of the Monarchs, because normally if you have Egyptian God cards, it is tribute summoned, and it just gives the same protection that tribute summoned monsters instead of level 10 monsters. It also has the effect of if a level 10 or higher monster destroys another monster in battle, the controller of the destroyed monster takes 1,000 points of damage. So, if I have Slifer attack your defense monster, and the defense monster is destroyed, my opponent will take 1,000 points of damage because their defense monster was destroyed by Slifer. And its last effect is if this face-up card in the field is destroyed by card effects, then you can add 1 divine monster from your deck to your hand. So that's it for the spells. Moving on to the traps, I play 3 copies of Trap Trick and 3 copies of Joker's Wild. Trap Trick just lets you can only activate 1 Trap Trick per turn. Lets you banish a normal trap in your deck to set a trap with the same name from your deck to the field face down. And it can activate this turn, but after the effective Trap Trick has resolved, you can only activate 1 trap for the rest of the turn. And then Joker's Wild just says you can send 1 spell or trap that lists King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and Jack's Knight to the graveyard to then apply its effect. And then I believe this also locks you into Light Warrior, because I know there's a couple cards that lock you into Light Warriors. Okay, no. You're not locked into anything with this. But, so basically with this, you send Joker's Straight to the grave to then apply Joker's Straight's effect. So I use this with Thunder Speed Summon. And then during the end phase, you can return a Light Warrior from your... You can target 1 Light Warrior in your graveyard, return to the deck to return Joker's Wild to your hand. I just like these cards because you can have a 1,000 or 0 attack Slifer, and then during your end phase it gets 3,000 attack. That is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. The extra deck has the common theme of everything being Light Warrior, with exception to 2. Because you use Joker's Straight a lot, and it locks you into Light Warriors. So I play 1 copy of Isolde just so I can see Joker's Knight. But when it's Link summoned, you can add 1 warrior from your deck to your hand. but you can't summon it or use cards or effects of the same name for that turn. And then you don't use its effect to special summon a warrior from your deck by sending equip spells to the grave because you don't play any equip spells. So this is only in here to search for Joker's Knight. And then I play one copy of Arcana Extra Joker just because sometimes you actually need it. But its effect is if your opponent would target a light warrior it points to or itself, then you can discard a card of the same type as the effect that's targeting that warrior to then negate its activation and destroy it. Then I play 2 copies of Heroic Champion Excalibur. Excalibur requires 2 level 4 light warriors, and it can use 2 materials to then double its original, or its attack becomes equal to double its original attack till the end of the next turn. And this is mainly in here just because it becomes a 4,000 attack beater that also lets me go into another monster later on towards the end of the extract. Then I play 3 copies of number 39 Utopia. You don't need to play 3 because, again, your Joker's Straight, Joker's Wild, and Joker's Knight all recur themselves by turning light warriors. So you really only need to play 1 Utopia. I'm only playing 3 though because I'm trying to figure out if there are any more level 4 or rank 4 light warrior XYZ monsters I can use that aren't numbers. Because I'm playing Utopic Future in this. The other thing you could do is take out Utopias, or 2 Utopias for Anaconda and Dragoon, if you want to go that route. But I also play 1 copy of Utopia Double. Utopia Double, when it's summoned, lets you add, or you can use one material to then add a double or nothing from your deck to your hand. And then immediately after that effect resolves, XD summon a Utopia using Utopia Double as material. And then its attack points are doubled. So and Utopia's effect just lets you use material to negate an attack. So what you do with this is you summon this, search for double or nothing, then summon a 5,000 attack Utopia. Utopia gets to attack. Utopia negates its own attack, and then double or nothing lets it attack again with 10,000 attack. Then I play 1 copy of Utopia Ray. I only play Utopia Ray in this deck because as a stepping stone to summon Shining number 39 Utopia the Lightning. Utopia the Lightning's effect is when you declares an attack, your opponent can activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. And when it battles a monster, you can use 2 materials to then double its original attack till the end of the damage step. And you can only use that effect when it battles a monster. The fun part of this is it had 2 materials, and my opponent thought it could only activate on when it attacks. But its effect is whenever it battles. So they went to have Construct attack, and because it was battling, your opponent couldn't activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. So, or was I attacking them? 1 minute, I need to remember this. Blah, blah. Okay, yeah. When it battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. So they were I'll just have Construct attack it and destroy it with its effect. What ended up happening is they had a 2,800 Construct attack a 5,000 attack monster that couldn't be destroyed. Because Construct couldn't destroy it with its effect. And I just thought that's kind of funny because most people don't realize Utopia Lightning is whenever it battles, it's not whenever it attacks. Then I play 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Nova. This is only in here so I can play the 1 Cyber Dragon Infinity. Infinity can be XD by using a Cyber Dragon Nova you control. Which actually led to a cute thing I used to do in one of my decks where I would normal summon Phantom of Chaos, banish a Cyber Dragon Nova from my graveyard, and then summon Infinity using that Phantom of Chaos, which name became Nova. It's actually a pretty cute thing. But Nova can use 1 material to then negate any activated when the opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effects. It negates the activation and destroys it. And it gains 200 attack for each material it has. And once per turn, you can target an attack position monster on the field and attach it to as material. Overall, Cyber Dragon Infinity is just a good card. And then I play the one Constellar Pleiades just because you do play level 5 monsters in this light monsters in this deck, so Pleiades being a light warrior just seems to just fit. And then I play one copy of Utopic Future Number 0, Utopic Future. So I can play the one copy of Future Number 0, Utopic Draco Future. Draco Future's effect is when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach one material, negate that effect, and then take control of that monster. So this card's fun because if your opponent activates Dragoon's effect, you can chain the Draco Future to negate Dragoon effect, and then take their Dragoon. That's one of the reasons I liked playing Anaconda in this deck, was because one of the games I was testing this, my opponent summoned Dragoon. I was able to summon this. So on there, and then after I don't remember how I did it. I just remember I summoned Draco Future. Then I was able to link into Anaconda, activate its effects on my own Dragoon. My opponent already negated something. So then it was their turn. They activated an effect. I went my Dragoon. They went their Dragoon. I went Future. So they lost their spell card that I think what they were using was trying to use the Grave effect of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to get rid of my Dragoon. But what ended up happening was I ended up having 2 Dragoons now, which they immediately forfeited when they realized that's what they were up against. But that is it for my Egyptian God Knight deck. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, or any ideas of decks you'd like to see me make, or games you want to see me played with decks I've made, feel free to comment those below. Thanks for watching.